Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Paramsukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagan Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasishtha Mumukshu Prakarana, section 18. We have just touched upon and given some insight into four gatekeepers. Shama, serenity of mind. Santosh, contentment. Satsang, good association. Vichar, reflective movement within your mind to discover who am I. All these four are interrelated. And if you follow any one of the four, the other three will automatically join in. 17th section, I'm skipping because it's just data about all this, how many verses, how many different items, and that we will have time later for that. 18th section gives you a general view of what you expect to get from this scripture. The glory of this scripture. Sri Vasishtha says, O Rama, when you sow seeds in a fertile soil, you get a golden harvest. I'm not talking about gold. These 6 volumes of Yoga Vasishtha, and broad term given, broad name, Moksha Sanhita, the Vedic scripture that gives you liberation. Hita means something that is good. Samhita, that goodness is absolute goodness. And this entire Yoga Vasishtha is called Moksha Sanhita. And it has 6 volumes. First, Vairagya Prakarana, which we have studied. Next, Mumukshu Vyavahara Prakarana, which we are in the progress. Third, we know is known as Utpatti Prakarana. Utpatti, origination of intuitive vision. Next one is called Sthiti Prakarana. When intuitive vision has emerged, how to maintain it, make it a steady sthiti. Next, Upasham Prakarana. As a result of that steady wisdom, profound peace that is enjoyed, Upasham, that volume focuses on that. And ultimate is Nirvana, attainment of the absolute goal, where the flame of craving is extinguished forever. Nirvana Prakarana is presented in 2 volumes, Purvardha and Uttarardha. So when you count them together, there will be 6. And all these 6 volumes are presenting to you mystic seeds. As you study them, your mind, your intellect works upon, and the essence is carried on into your heart. That process called Hridayangam. When you study that and you do Hridayangam of it, capturing it in the Hridaya, heart, and not leaving it there, assimilating it. Stomach digests it, but it's not complete digestion. When heart digests it, it's figurative. That's the highest you can get. Now, the scripture gives rationality, how to direct your mind to what is the truth, the absolute truth. And the scripture doesn't want to stay just with faith. Guru says, you are Brahman. And you say, I believe it. You can't be wrong. That is not so. Yoga Vasishtha does not encourage you to do that. Allow your reasoning to operate in a dynamic way, to understand the subtle essence of Yoga Vasishtha. Never turn away from rationality that will give you a clear understanding. Simply because some great one is saying, to say, yes, you are right, put it in perspective, you believe, but you have to realize it. Until then, you have not realized. Implication, therefore, subtle implication, that a disciple goes to ashram, Guru, and Guru Rama listens to Vasishtha, but every now and then Rama asks a question. He never says, oh Vasishtha, Guru, I believe you. Similarly, in the Gita, Krishna shows his cosmic form and all that. And still Arjuna goes on asking questions. Try to understand. People in the name of religion, they try to shut your rationality. Say, don't question. These are great sages who have told you. And that's it. That doesn't give real spiritual progress. Society following this, they come under three gunas. Sattvic people, they continue to be good, be charitable, etc. And so they find opportunity to go get into the deeper insight. Sattvic faith opens the door for vichar. Rajasic faith opens the door for worldly prosperity, not spiritual. And allegorically, and the Rajasic prosperity has its climax in Swarga, heavenly enjoyment. And Tamasic prosperity, the prosperity of Kansa, of Ravana, bully-headed people. But your goal is not to just to stay in that level of faith, but in the level of reaching the stage of understanding. Until then, you allow your faith to become dynamic more and more. But the ultimate goal, where intellect becomes free of all illusions, and there is a direct revelation, I am that. Do not accept words that are given to you in satsanga literally. In other words, work upon it. Reflect upon it. Plates of good foods are given to you. Just don't go on looking at it. Simply looking at it and eating and digesting it, there's a big matter, big difference. Even if words of wisdom are coming from a child, accept them. But if words of wisdom are coming even from Brahma, the Creator, and they do not match up with your understanding, with humility, tell Brahma, oh, I can't understand it. But don't accept it. What you said, oh yes, we want the Creator. Am Brahmasmi, Am Brahma. In other words, Hindu scriptures have a special quality. It opens the door to questioning, rationality. Doesn't want to promote blind faith. Because in blind faith, your mind begins to work. This is the only religion. All those who do not follow it, they are going to go to hell. And they should be hated, and so forth. Where reasoning, not reasoning as intellectual way, reasoning to discover the real quality of life and the purpose of life, if that reasoning is not allowed, or the reasoning does not flourish, then the religion becomes a big trouble. Real religion is that allows you to have that reflective movement, which are an ultimate goal of religion is dhyana, wisdom, like this shining sun without a trace of illusion. An allegorical statement is made. There is someone, or there are people who live by the Ganges, but they will not drink water from the Ganges because some years back their forefathers built or created a well for them. And they made a kind of a pledge or a promise or a devotion to their forefather that your goodwill flows in this water, and will never take water from anywhere else but this. So much I love you. So Ganges flows on. And you shut your eyes. But you go on drawing polluted water from your well. And that's not well for you. It has a subtle message, you see. Everyone is given a traditional way of practicing religion. And many things you are told. You should not become completely confined to those literal words you have heard. Your mind must be open, and you must allow your understanding to take advantage of what you have received in inheritance. But you must flow on, should not become confined to inheritance. Someone has given you in inheritance one-story building. Now, as you progress, you make it 2 stories. Your children go on adding story after story. Joking. On the other hand, think of that type of mind that will not add anything to what has been given. Leave it as it is, exactly. So that type of adherence to old style, rituals, etc., that's an obstruction in your spiritual progress. Everything goes on changing. The language used so many years back, everything was hi-ho. Thou, thine. Same language you not use. In other words, allow progress to occur. In this progressive movement, your intellect has greater possibility for having divine oxygen. But when progress itself is stopped, intellect is like sitting in a room without ventilation. Therefore, Vedanta, the way it was explained so many years back, the major way of explaining was only the rope, snake on the rope. Now you can explain them in the terms of cinema show, screen. But that again, even this symbolism is a little past. You can explain them with your, what do you call, hand, cell phone. How you open a file, and in the corner of the file you can open another file. World within the world. And all is shut out and there is nothing but a simple stuff. See, in other words, languages change, lifestyle changes, the way of describing things changes. Allow your heart open to all this. The scripture doesn't stop you from that. Now, if you follow the teachings in the right way, with open heart, with questioning mind, and with developing qualifications to deserve the teachings, then attaining the goal is as sure as sun is going to rise after the night. You go to sleep in the night, sun is not there. You're not worried, will the sun rise? Sun is going to rise. A Sanskrit word is used. Good jihvika nyaya. Put good is the old style sugar that has not been refined. Put it on your tongue. It doesn't stay in the tongue. It begins to work, it goes within you, goes into the process of nutrition, and so forth. Similarly, the teachings of the scriptures in the beginning, like good. When you are following the teachings with open heart and mind, they will be so fascinating that as if you are just putting a lot of sugar on your tongue. The tongue never gets bored. As a result, you are assimilating divine nutrition. Sugandhim pushti vardhanam. Having listened to this scripture through saintly personalities, and as you go on enjoying the scripture based on your vichar, your inquiring mind that is not accepting things without understanding, that goes on understanding and then accepting it. As a result, samskaras develop in your unconscious. Special samskaras, shubh samskaras. Those samskaras enable your intellect to have a special clarity, the clarity that reveals the subtle meaning behind the great utterances of the scriptures. Here the word has been used, the Shuddha Vakyata. Vakya term relates to utterance. Scriptures have given you Mahavakya, great utterance. There are not too many, there are just 4. Prajnanam Brahma. With the first, Brahma is defined. What is Brahman? Awareness, pure awareness. Next one is instruction. The Guru says to the disciple, Tattvamasi, that prajnanam, pure consciousness, is your reality. Tattvamasi, thou art that. And the disciple doesn't go on repeating the mantra Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi. He comes to third utterance, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. He allows his mind to flow, guided by scriptural teachings. The last mantra is Anubhava Vakya. You experience, I am Atma Brahma. This self is Brahman, is revelation. This insight into these great utterances that have come into the scriptures, that insight begins to develop if you go through the scripture of Yoga Vasishtha. Another allegorical description is given. Just like in a dark night, you are just haunted by so many dark shadows, and then someone comes by holding a lamp in his hand and with very good eyes, lotus eyes. Because if a devil comes like that, he will not be helped. That someone who comes like that is one who has assimilated the teachings. So not only he has attained enlightenment, but he brings lamp of light to help others who are tortured by the forces of darkness. In winter season, especially in autumn, that's in the India setting, that's the allegorical way of saying, what happens? The sky becomes clear. Clouds turn into mist. moves away, the sky becomes absolutely clear. That's why we describe Sharad Chandra, that autumn moon, symbol of great clarity. Similarly, that type of clear vision like the moon emerges in your heart. As you are allowing that vision to emerge, the enemies of your soul, malas, greed, delusion, anger, hatred, etc., they begin to dwindle and they ultimately become completely annihilated. O Rama, your intellect is free of impurities. All that you need is abhyasa, repeated understanding of discriminative vision. As you have, if a person has developed certain sensitivity to understand that the world will not give all that you want, now all that you need is to go on studying the scripture again and again, gada parinyaya, allowing the understanding to settle deep. Your understanding is not settling deep if you are unable to control your lower self. So there, that point should be also understood. Otherwise you can say, I have understood everything. Who says I have a dull mind? But you don't have to ask others about the validity of your understanding. Ask yourself, am I able to control anger, hate, greed? And to give you a little more subtler point, are you able to control your anxiety, your fear, your despair? Are you going to handle these? If you are able to handle them and emerge brighter than the challenge, then you are really pursuing the path. So therefore, there is a constant need for satsanga. By the practice of vivek, repeated involvement in satsanga allows you to enhance your vivek, discriminative intellect, intellect that separates reality from unreality. When that happens, and you begin to develop that profound insight that I am the self, physical body, pranas, senses, mind, intellect, ego, they are all layers of not self. If that understanding becomes deep, mind becomes like a lake. Lake during autumn season, implying lake is beautiful, calm, and relaxed. It becomes like not only a lake, it becomes like the ocean without the Mandarachala mountain agitating it. People have their mind, and it is also like an ocean, but it's constantly being churned. There is constantly, you are using your mind, tremendous energy of mind. From morning till night, if you give attention to it, all that has come within your mind from morning till night in one single day cannot be written down in a big volume like this. It requires more. Because mind is not enjoying, it is like ocean. but ocean with tremendous commotion. But as a result of enjoying, listening, assimilating the teaching, it becomes the ocean without commotion. There is nothing to churn it. It becomes a deep, profound experience of revelation of truth. By the study of this scripture, ignorance is absolutely removed. Not a trace exists. Put it a little extended way. The scriptural knowledge removes three great obstacles on the path of liberation: mala, vikshepa, and avarana. As I have explained to you, mind is like a mirror. You attain liberation on the basis of clarity of mind. But handling the mind to that state requires three levels, three stages. First, think of mirror that has dust over it. First stage, you are handling your mind, but it's full of dust. So whatever you see into it, you are not seeing the reality. That mala is removed by karma yoga. How to allow your energy to flow in a way that it paves the way for pure feeling, higher feeling. Higher feeling paves the way for clearer understanding. The second type, if you remove the dust from the mirror, now comes another level of mystic psychology. What you see, you can't believe in it. And the mind develops a greed to see most fascinating face that you have ever imagined. So your hand begins to shake. Because vikshepa, distractions of the mind. That has to be controlled by bhakti and dhyana, devotional practice of devotion and meditation, called upasana. Now your mirror is clean, your hand that holds the mirror is steady. There is third obstacle. If you are so touched by what you are going to see that you swing your head down and all your hair comes over your eyes. And there is a sudden shock. I see nothing. But all that you need is a little waving of your hand. Avarana, that's the veil. It's removed by jnana, intuitional knowledge that changes your angle from the world of maya to the absolute reality, to a world of dream to the state of awakening. So mala, vikshepa and avarana, these are targeted by the teachings of the scriptures. As a result, everyone is capable of realizing I am Brahman. The mind in everyone is the basis for enlightenment. The world is like a battlefield. And just like keeping the illustration of battle, soldiers deck themselves with armor and some special protective cap on the head. When they are well decked, well armored, they can go through the vigorous fight process goes on. But since they are armored, they are safe to a great extent. In the same way, this world is like a big battlefield. And if you have developed vivek, discriminative intellect, and vichar, and subtle aspiration, may I attain liberation, and the vision of jnana provided by the scripture, you have all the needed armor. In a simple way, all that I'm describing, that if you become deeply involved with the scripture and flow along with it, you can live in the world without being affected by all problems. 3 tapas, subjective problems that come within your own body, that's quite a lot. Objective problems that come from Alaska to Australia, from North Pole to South Pole. And Adidaivic problem, the problems that come from the Milky Ways and countless stars. I'm joking, but try to figure that out. Act of will. Storm, hurricanes. The world you live in is not a simple world. Human mind doesn't go to understand. The moment mind tries to understand, fear grips the person. Why should I think of such a sad thing? Nothing exists. Why not? So many wonderful things are here. And why should I say nothing exists? And therefore, scriptures enable you to understand that it is not a pathetic movement. It's a movement to a greater joy. That all that is existing is the glory of God. And go one step further. The glory of your very self. Your I am is the absolute I am, Aham Brahmasmi. So any movement towards that understanding has 2 aspects. Increasing awareness that the world is only illusory, is just appearance. It's illusory. And if you lose the world, you don't lose anything. And increasing understanding that you are unshaken by the world. The world is, instead of harming you, is fashioned to allow your soul to evolve. You develop a positive understanding behind the whole world set. All that I'm telling it very easily, but it requires great effort and sustained patience in every individual to come to that level. And also the process is progressive. You find yourself enduring certain problem, and you discover that you are stronger than before. And when you discover it, there is a sense of joy, inner stability. And that goes on and on until you have a full understanding, and we're rooted in that understanding that I am that. As you begin to develop profound understanding that objects of the world are not realities in themselves, then changes that occur in the world, they do not injure your heart. The word is used, marmachedan. Marma refers to heart-based feeling. And things happen, and that marm is, somebody is piercing it with nails. Your heart is injured. And that type of experience goes on in human life. First point to understand, it is not degrading. This is a characteristic of human personality. If you don't have marma at all, you can't attain anything. If you don't have a heart, you cannot attain liberation. But if you have a heart, you go through experiences that bring frustrations, despair. But come to satsanga and get repaired. So repaired that come to a stage that the world will not bring that type of injury into your heart. God is there, the all profound healer. For easy understanding, and clouds can do all types of turmoil, but they can't create a scratch in the sky. Therefore, gods, Krishna and Rama, they are all described as Ghanashyama, the sky with cloud. If you are enshrining God in your heart becomes like the sky. Not all at once, but by degrees you begin to develop that understanding. Things come, God's Leela, whichever way they have come. They go, the mind may not understand it, ego may not like it, but when you love God, who doesn't mind the mind? You don't go after your ego. So therefore, you remain unaffected. One who has studied and assimilated the teachings of Yoga Vasishtha, he may face terrible challenges, and yet such a sage stays like a mighty rock. All the challenges are like arrows being shot at the rock, and the rock doesn't know it. And with this I will conclude. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.